See, this face is too important to be near a knife. You'll cost me my brand deals.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Pregnant before marriage, and by a stranger, no less.
Hey, I pay a lot for a girl like you!
Mom? Molly, where is the money for your dad? It's $1,000.
Mom, call the police.
Your mother called. He wants to set up a date with the Harrington's daughter.
No. Huh. She looks just like the girl who saved my life. I was kidnapped, dumped, left for dead. Then she found me. No, it's not her. All right, Jennings, let's head out.
Help me, please.
To raise $1,000 for her father as medical treatment, a young woman is betrayed by her own mother and sister, forced into a shady clinic, and compelled to sell herself. It all begins on the day Maya found herself with nowhere to turn. Her father was about to lose his sight and urgently needed $1,000. But the insurance company refused to pay. Desperate, she heard of a clinic willing to pay double for blood. She rushed there, but it was no legitimate clinic, and the so-called doctor was a cruel, heartless monster. He saw through Maya's vulnerability and sprayed a vial of sedative on her. As she was about to be violated, Maya fought with all her strength and escaped, immediately calling her mother for help. But on the other end, her mother showed no concern at all, only scolding her for not being obedient. The people pushing her into the hell were her own family. Heartbroken and desperate, Maya ran into the street, only to collide with a speeding luxury car. Inside was a billionaire famous across the city. At that moment, he was troubled by an arranged matchmaking meeting, and irritated by all the gold-digging wealthy women vying for him. But the sight of this desperate, disoriented girl immediately captured his attention. The billionaire rescued Maya, but a bigger problem rose. The drugs in her system began to take effect, leaving her completely irrational. Faced with a beautiful yet vulnerable woman, he ultimately failed to maintain his restraint. The next morning, when Maya woke up, the first thing she did was demand payment. She needed money to save her father. The billionaire's expression darkened instantly. To him, Maya was nothing more than a thoroughly materialistic woman. He contemptuously threw a stack of cash at her, ordering her to disappear forever. But what he didn't know was that months later, the girl he humiliated would hold a pregnancy test in her hands. Two bright red lines glowing. Penniless, yet carrying the heir to a billion-dollar fortune. What will Maya do next? One moment, she was spending an intimate night with a handsome doctor. The next, he treated her like a cheap prostitute, humiliating her with a stack of cash. Yet, as the man told her to leave his side, the woman revealed a secret so devastating it would make him regret it for the rest of his life. It all began at the chaotic party the night before. The woman, Amy, was panicked and seeking help. The drug took effect quickly, left her dizzy, flushed, and consumed by heat. Just as she was about to lose consciousness, she collided into a strong embrace. The man before her was Weston. Amy instinctively sought his help, but her body betrayed her. Under the drug's influence, Weston appeared impossibly handsome. Weston had intended to escort her home with dignity, but seeing this beautiful woman, cheeks flushed and eyes glassy, he too felt his control slipping. Though he knew it was a terrible decision, he couldn't resist the fatal temptation. They spent a night of wild passion, but when Amy awoke the next morning, he was gone. On the nightstand lay only a stack of cold cash. Needing money desperately, Amy hesitated but eventually took it. She never expected Weston to return at that moment. Seeing her holding the money, his handsome face twisted with disdain and disgust. He assumed Amy was the type of woman who would sell herself for money, and with cruel words, he humiliated her, commanding her to leave and never appear before him again. Surrounded by overwhelming shame, Amy felt her heart shattered. Tears in her eyes, she turned to leave. But at the door, she paused, as if steeling herself for something. Slowly, she turned back to face him and whispered a single sentence, one that froze Weston in place. Amy told him she was pregnant. The woman he had treated like a prostitute was carrying his child. Faced with this shocking revelation, how will the proud doctor react? The girl treated by her family like an ATM turns out to be the very person a top surgeon had been searching for all these years, the one who saved his life. It all begins on her first day of internship, when she nearly gets fired. Meet Molly, With outstanding grades, she earned an internship at the country's most prestigious hospital. But on the first day, she arrived late, angering the chief surgeon, Weston, known as the surgical master. Weston was infamous for his strictness and had zero tolerance for those lacking punctuality. He was ready to fire her on the spot. Yet, as Molly begged desperately for mercy, Weston unexpectedly noticed the beauty mark on her neck. It instantly reminded him of a girl with a similar mark who, 13 years ago, had saved his life in a moment of peril. This discovery led Weston to unprecedentedly give Molly a chance. Molly survived the first hurdle, but she harbored a far greater secret. She was pregnant. Could she hide her pregnancy from such a strict mentor and keep this opportunity? The reason for her lateness was as frustrating as it was cruel: her vampire-like family. Just hours earlier, Molly had discovered that the money she had painstakingly earned to buy medicine for her grandfather had been taken by her mother. Her mother used the money to buy her brother the latest smartphone, fulfilling his dream of being an online celebrity. Furious, Molly tried to retrieve the money, only to face a joint attack from her mother and brother. Her cruel mother even twisted the truth in front of her grandfather, accusing Molly of thinking he was a burden. Finally, her mother forced Molly to finish all the household chores before leaving the house, the true reason for her tardiness. The most shocking revelation came when her mother confessed behind her back. The reason they had abused Molly all these years was because she was not their biological daughter. Devastated by this truth, Molly was crushed. Meanwhile, the top surgeon had begun investigating her identity. When Weston discovers that the woman who once saved his life is being abused in such a way, what earth-shattering actions will he take? A female intern just started her job, only to discover she is pregnant with her direct supervisor's child. A man who is not only the hospital's most difficult genius doctor but also a staunch child-free advocate. How could she possibly hide such a life-shattering secret under his watchful eyes? The story begins with that absurd night. On that day, Wesley, the top surgeon, repeatedly emphasized that he never wanted children and had taken every precaution. But an unexpected accident turned the life of the rookie intern, Molly, completely upside down. She was horrified to find herself pregnant, and the father was none other than Wesley, the man who had insisted he would never want kids. To make matters worse, starting today, Wesley was assigned as her supervising mentor, meaning they would spend every day and every hour together. Meanwhile, Wesley's colleague and friend, Jack, noticed that Wesley seemed unusually tolerant of the new intern, Molly. When pressed by Jack, Wesley admitted that Molly was indeed the girl from that night, though he insisted it had been a mere mistake. Ever the mischief maker, Jack promptly made a call and assigned Molly under Wesley's supervision, calling it a key development opportunity. When Molly saw Wesley's name on the schedule, her heart sank to the bottom of her stomach. As he expected, Wesley wasted no time asserting his authority. With a cold tone, he drew clear boundaries. In the hospital, they were nothing more than superior and subordinate, nothing else. Molly swallowed all her grievances and fears, repeatedly telling herself that as long as she kept her head down and worked hard, she could keep her pregnancy a secret. At work, Molly displayed extraordinary patience and care, surprising Wesley, who hadn't he expected such a delicate and professional side from the seemingly clumsy intern. Slowly, a subtle and unexpected feeling began to stir in his heart. What Wesley didn't he know, however, was that Molly carried an even bigger secret. By day, she was the hospital intern, constantly scrutinized by her strict supervisor. By night, she dragged her exhausted body to a nightclub to work, trying to gather the down payment for her father's head injury surgery. Exhausted both physically and mentally, Molly not only had to endure the high-intensity hospital work but also hide the truth of her pregnancy. What she didn't know was that a greater crisis was silently approaching, and her double life was about to be exposed. When and how would Wesley discover the secret growing in her belly? In a private booth at a bar, the pregnant woman was being forcibly pressured to drink by a group of wealthy young men simply because she had refused to entertain them. This woman, wearing a cheap uniform, was named Molly. Her true identity, however, was that of an intern at a top hospital. The story begins just a few minutes earlier. Molly was working hard at her bar job, needing to earn $1 more to cover an urgent down payment. A few regular patrons called her over to join their table, flaunting stacks of cash and tempting her to sit down for a break. They promised that more money could be earned if she stayed. Out of necessity, Molly smiled and sat down, but unexpectedly, a man handed her a shot of liquor and insisted she drink it. Molly immediately refused, revealing that she was pregnant. Instead of sympathy, this shocking revelation enraged the man. He began verbally assaulting her with deeply insulting words, mocking her attire and accusing her of using her innocent appearance to extract money from men. Before she could react, he grabbed the glass, attempting to force it into her hand. What these shameless men did not know was that just moments before, Molly had been in a pristine hospital office. A handsome man, Dr. Weston, the hospital's youngest chief physician, had been carefully tending to a wound on her hand. He scolded Molly, the intern, for not taking better care of herself, but his eye betrayed an undeniable tenderness. Dr. Weston admitted he could not forget that night they had spent together. On one side was a mysterious doctor filled with care and subtle affection. On the other, shameless men filled with malice and humiliation. Molly's double life had thrown her into a dire predicament. What was her true relationship with the mysterious Dr. Weston? And who was the father of the child in her womb? Facing the immediate danger, how could defenseless Molly save herself? What she did not know was that an even greater storm was about to strike. This man had merely rescued a pregnant waitress from being bullied, but he could never have imagined that this woman was his wife, the one he had been searching for all over the city, and that she was carrying their child. The story begins at a high-end club. Two wealthy young men, flaunting their status as VIP members, were forcing a waitress to drink. The girl begged them, saying she was pregnant and could not drink. But the two brats ignored her, escalating their humiliation, confident that an unknown waitress would dare not resist. As they tried to force her to drink, she splashed the alcohol away in desperation. This enraged the rich young man, who raised his hand to strike her. The girl screamed in terror, pleading him not to hurt her child. At that moment, a man passing by witnessed the scene. Even more shocking, amid the chaos, he saw a familiar, heart-wrenching face, his missing wife, and also dressed as a waitress, her eyes filled with fear. Without hesitation, the man rushed forward to rescue her. And the scene flustered upon seeing him, insisting she was fine and that incidents like this were common here. The man, looking at his wife's haggard appearance, was filled with confusion and worry. What he didn't know was that Anna's friend was quietly urging her to reveal the truth, that she not only hid her identity while working here but was also pregnant with his child, a fact he was completely unaware of. Just as the atmosphere grew tense, new trouble arrived. A man named Weston, accompanied by his cronies, tried to forcibly take Anna away. The man once again stood his ground, shielding Anna behind him. Weston dismissed the seemingly ordinary man and attacked, but was immediately overpowered, his wrist broken in the process. Screaming in pain, Weston threatened him with his status, claiming he was a top financial analyst about to receive a seven-figure raise, and that he would sue the man into bankruptcy. But before he could finish, the man coldly looked at him and delivered a decision that left Weston frozen. "You Ray fire, both of you are." Weston was stunned. Who exactly was the seemingly inconspicuous man? And after revealing his true strength, how would he discover the even bigger secret Anna had been hiding? Just because of one question, are you selling yourself? This man is about to regret it deeply, for he has no idea that the girl he just humiliated is carrying his child, and that that night was her first time. The story begins when the man discovers the girl's secret. The woman, named Molly, works diligently as an intern at a hospital by day. But by night, she dons heavy makeup and works part-time at a shady nightclub. The one who uncovered her secret is her direct supervisor, Dr. Graham Weston, the sole heir of the Weston Group. At this moment, Weston, filled with suspicion and worry, had been following Molly, and arrived just in time to see the drunken men harassing her. Without a word, Weston handles the trouble, immediately firing the two reckless employees on the spot and revealing his billionaire identity. But the heroism is quickly replaced by a cold confrontation. Weston corners Molly in a back alley, demanding to know what secret she is hiding, and why she would go to such a place after finishing her hospital shift. Fear immediately overwhelmed Molly. She is a humble intern, and he is a world-class doctor and heir to a vast fortune. She cannot reveal the truth that she is pregnant with his child. She fears that the man, who already thinks of her as a gold digger, will force her to terminate the pregnancy. To make matters worse, in her panic while escaping the drunk men, Molly blurts out that she is pregnant, a statement that Weston overheard. When Weston coldly seeks confirmation, Molly hastily denies it, claiming it was a made-up lie to get away. This explanation ignites Weston's fury. He mistakenly believes Molly is a woman who will do anything for money, and verbally humiliates her with cruel words. Questioning whether his support is insufficient and even maliciously suggesting she quit her medical internship to focus entirely on earning money at such places. Every word cuts deep into Molly's heart. Finally, overwhelmed with despair and injustice, she cries out the truth that the man had never realized that night with him was her first time. Time seems to freeze. The once dominant Weston freezes in place, shock and disbelief written across his face. Looking at the tear-streaked girl before him, he finally realizes how absurdly wrong he may have been. He immediately pulls out his phone, ordering his assistant to investigate. He intends to verify everything Molly has said. But just as the truth is about to surface, Molly's phone rings. Her mother's anxious voice is on the line. Her father is critically ill and suffering greatly. A new crisis strikes, forcing Molly to rush home immediately. What enormous burden does this poor girl carry? And when Weston finally discovers the truth that he misjudged Molly and is about to become a father, what crazy action will he take next? Just because the daughter refused to marry a 90-year-old man, the cruel mother planned to abort her child. This all began with a carefully plotted scheme. Outside the hospital, a mother and daughter conspired to force their adopted daughter Molly to marry Mr. Holt, a frail 90-year-old tycoon. They intended to claim the surgery fee doubled, secure the marriage, and then inherit his fortune and insurance when he died. The wicked sister praised the plan, imagining wealth and luxury, laughing proudly. Meanwhile, Molly, exhausted from working day and night to support her critically ill father, arrived at the hospital. Instead of comfort, her mother delivered a shocking blow. Her father's condition had worsened, the surgery fee doubled, and the only solution was immediate engagement to Mr. Holt. Molly felt as if she had fallen into an ice-cold abyss. Mr. Holt was notorious and bedridden. Marrying him felt worse than death. When Molly resisted, her mother used her father's life to coerce her, leaving Molly with no choice but to reveal a shocking secret. She was pregnant. Instead of mercy, this infuriated her family. Her sister called her a shameless slut. Her mother demanded immediate abortion, and even revealed Molly was not her biological daughter, claiming years of investment were wasted. Cornered, Molly refused the abortion. Her mother tried to force her down, threatening to eliminate the problem herself. At that moment, Molly's phone rang. It was the father of her child, billionaire Dr. Weston. He initially misunderstood her, thinking she was gold digging, angrily scolding her. Then his assistant reported that the check he had given her was never cashed. Dr. Weston froze, realizing his terrible mistake. Hearing Molly's screams and cries for help, he understood she was in great danger. Heart racing, he rushed to save her. Could he arrive in time to rescue Molly and her unborn child from her demonic family? And what fate awaited them both?